Right, so we're on VP4. We've got a money match, albeit it's just for $50, and it's a Scotch Doubles match. It's 9 ball, race to 9. We've got Larry and Wit teamed up against VP Monster and Hazard. Scratch match, and we've joined it with VP Monster and Hazard 2-0 up. We've got the 6 and the 8 tied up in the bottom rail. We've got the 2 safe next to the 9. Looking to try and get cover. I'll get a quick drink. Yeah, the reason of doing this is I was invited to join the doubles match, but unfortunately my stomach comes first. I was away at my dinner at the time. Let's just square this camera up, that's a bit better. And let's just change the colour of that cloth again back to the blue. It looks a bit nicer. So this rack is all going to depend on that 6 ball. And obviously Wit and Larry want to be winning it. They don't want to go 3-0 down. Let me just check something for 2 seconds. I'll be back. Right, I'm going to try this again. That's better. And let's just do a bit of advertising in the lobby. See if we can get some viewers interested in this. Right, so 6 ball is now, well, it's a little bit more free. The problem's getting on it. And the best Wit could do is to leave either a billiard or this combo for Larry. So this rack hinges on this shot. The question is where's the 6 ball going to go? Well, Larry's missed the combo and he's going to knock the 6 into play, and that's a disaster. And VP Monster, way too heavy, but that's actually landed on a bank for the 8 ball. Now Hazard's looking at the cut though. Yeah, he's more comfortable with the cut. Where's the cue ball going? He's okay. So this for 3-0. And in it goes. So that attempted combo by Larry, it didn't come off. Brought everything into play, and they're now trailing 3 racks to 0. Monster breaks off in rack number 4. The rack is, or the break is dry. The danger here for Wit is trying to cut this 1 ball. He's going to run off the rail into the 3. And he's played, I presume he played a bank. It was actually almost heading on for the double bank there, just hit the knuckle of the middle pocket. So now a chance to get into the long grass here for Hazard. he doesn't want to bank this one ball too far across the table. He just wants to sort of set it to the middle of the table and get the cue ball down behind these balls down at the bottom, like the 6 and the 2. Well, he's banked it off the rail into the middle of the table, what was the main objective, unless he played the bank. It looks more like the safety. And Larry trying to tuck up, and he's got that job done. Don't think there's any gap behind the 4. No, there isn't. VP Monster looking for some sort of angle to try and get to this one ball. He might actually be better just tying something up, because it's not easy to get to. There's balls in the way of the path of the cue ball to get to the one. So he's scratched, and now Whit and Larry have ball in hand, and they have to make the most of this one. The first problem for Whit is getting somewhere down here towards this 2 ball. Well, he could try and just drop behind 9 and just come down here. Well, let me get my straight line on. That's better. Now, has he found a line to that too? Well, that's unlucky. He almost got there. Almost got there. Good evening, Simon. As I said earlier, I would have been in this match had I been here for the invite. That looks like, oh, that's okay. But I was away at my dinner at the time. Good evening, Slim. We've got a big money match, $50. They're usually 100, but obviously somebody's claiming poverty before this match started. Yeah, I joined it at 2-0 when I got back, so I thought I'd do a bit of streaming. I think Whit's got pretty reasonable cover there. Now, there is the possibility of the billiard off the 2 onto the 6, because there's enough room to get to the 2 to play the billiard. And commentator's eye again, and VP Monster duly obliged. And his ad is saying Whit claim poverty. can't afford $100 Just a pity you can't transfer $. I've got plenty. Right, so we have a scratch. And this is the second opportunity for Larry and Whit, and I don't think they're going to get many more, so they're going to really have to make the most of this one. Slightly the wrong angle on the 3 here, so Whit's just going to have to check this cue ball to hold it. I don't know whether he did, but it's a good angle for Larry. And the obvious path, the natural path, would be just to go that way for the 5 into the middle. Needs to just slow down. He doesn't want to leave too much angle, and that's a wee bit further for comfort, because Whit's going to either have to run into the 8 or just clip the edge of it and hold for that 7. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to transfer $, especially if you're trying to join a tournament or a Scotch Doubles tournament or something like that. And Whit has missed the 5, and well, luckily for him, this is not an easy position with a 5 ball. But they've already had 2 chances in this rack, and trailing 3-0, and you're getting 2 opportunities and you can't follow them up, so it's not looking good. And VP Monsters managed to get the cutting angle on that. It's a good shot. And Hazard has a nice angle on this 7 as well. It's all about judging the pace to get around the corner and out into the table and not too far. And that is pretty well done. So it ain't looking good for Larry and Witt right at this precise moment. They now trail 4-0. It's winner breaks. Ball in the break, and there's going to be a shot in the 1 as well here. In fact, 2 balls have gone. We've lost the 4 and the 6. 8 ball hanging over the top right corner pocket. That could be the only slight problem here. The reason I say that is the 5. Excuse me, that's my dinner coming back on me. The 5 ball is looking for a pocket, and the way that Hazard has played that shot, now I've got the hiccups. I think that drinking that water's brought on the hiccups, believe it or not. That shot's left Monster. Well, he's left him with a good angle. The question is whether he can't hold for the 5. He's going to have to come around and try and get behind it for maybe the 5 into the same pocket. It's difficult to hold for the 5 to play a 5-8 combo here. So he's trying to get over. And, well, that's not a bad effort. And this is the only lifeline that Larry and Witt are going to have in this rack, is whether Hazard can get the combo, and he didn't hang about. And what's more, the 5 is going to come out nicely, and this is going to be 5-0. Hazard can go off the side rail, end rail, and up into the table. Well, he's trying to leave it long for Larry. I'm mixing up partners here. He's trying to leave it long for VP Monster. And in it goes. So it's 5-0. And we've not really seen an awful lot of Witt and Larry at all here, but we've saw them get 2 good chances to win a rack, get on the board, and they failed. And this time it's a dry break. The table is wide open, and well, they've got to do it. Biggest problem straight away is where the 2 is and where the 3 is. They're both at opposite ends of the table, so there's got to be a bit of manoeuvring here. And Larry is trying desperately to get on that 2 for Hazard, and it's all gone wrong. Had he potted the 1, Hazard was hooked. Witt. I'm mixing the partners up here all the time. So here's the problem. Pretty straight on this 2 ball. There is a slight angle there, but if you put too much top on it, the cue ball's just going to stay at that end of the table. So he's trying to drag it. Yeah, far too difficult at that distance to try and get the power and draw into it. And likewise here for Witt, he's just got to rely on luck. He's going to maybe collide with something here. Well, that's worked out perfect. Perfect on the 3. Four ball up the table on its own, plenty of room to get on it. But you need that angle to get back for the 5. And of course the problem with the 5 ball is it's only going into one pocket. It's not going past the 8. And Larry's going to scratch. Oh, another disaster. And things are going from bad to worse here. We could be looking at the bagel. Now, there's a slight angle there, I think. No, there's not much there. You don't want to try and pinch too much, but you could try and stun up the table. Probably easier just to draw. And needs to get the right side of the 6. Well, he's gone for the heave-ho draw. This is going to scratch as well, and there is the lifeline. And they've simply got to put this away. Now that could possibly be the start of something big to get that luck for Larry and Witt. I don't think they were expecting to get back into the table. Now Witt has to just, let's have a look at what he's got here. See, this is 2 straight, and now it's all about judgment. So he's decided to play the simple shot, and that's the right thing to do. Just leave the little roll into the middle. Well, they're on the board. Still trailing before, but this time they've got the break. Well, this table's slightly ugly on the right hand side there. It's a dry break. The 1-8 combo is the only option here, I think, for Hazard, if he can see enough of the 1 ball. And he's just played the billiard. Well, that 1 ball will go in off the 3. You just got to hit it a nice pace to get there and to drop in. Too hard and it won't go. And that 3 is going to run into the 2, and then there'll be 3 balls locked up in the right hand rail. Well, Monster decided not to even bother trying for the 1 off the 3. Well, so the likelihood of Larry and Witt running out with this state of affairs is pretty slim. And Larry trying to get some cover. Didn't get there. Had he missed that kiss on the 4 ball, it would have been pretty good. But the 1 ball's tight in the bottom rail pretty much. Now I think with this shot, Witt has to try and leave Larry an option with this 2 ball in terms of playing a reasonable safety from it. He doesn't want to try and do too much with it. And that angle there's not that good for playing a decent safety. He's too straight. He'd have been much better with a wider angle to just maybe skim off the 2. And now he's probably looking at trying to play the double, and it's not a good double where that 2 ball's sitting. Yeah, very difficult to pick out. So the 2 ball in the middle of the table's opened up with that shot. There isn't now a problem ball in the table. 3 ball hanging over the right middle, 4 ball up near the top left hand corner. And if VP Monster can get this 2 ball in, which he hasn't, it would have been a chance to widen the gap again. But it's gone I say reasonably safe. The cut is on for the 2-ball and it simply has to go in. Cue ball surely got to get out into the table and give Larry a shot in the 3. He's overcut it, but that's probably the best thing to do, is to overcut it, because it's going to come back along that top rail. But even so, looking at that, that's still a possibility of a very thin cut. But that's the safety shot. Use the 7-ball as a blocker, and that's perfect. Well, that's difficult to hit because the angle off the side rail is hampered by that 5. So he's having to play it with left spin to help the angle. And would you believe it, how unlucky is that? He scratched the middle pocket, 2 balls hanging over the corner, 3-ball in the opposite middle. So where's the problem here? I don't see one. And this could be the problem. That is not the best of positions to leave VP Monster on this 4-ball, because there's traffic in the way of the path over to the 5. And he's thinking so much about that, he's overcut the 4. And it's left awkward as well for Witt. And he has the same problem. The cue ball has to come over to the right, but even if he pots this, how good is he going to have his partner on this 5? Well, he's kissed the 5. He's left Larry an offline shot on the 5 into the corner. Now, how's he going to hold for this 6? He could actually, looking at that there, the stun across is on. He looks as if he's drawn behind the 7, sort of this way. Or is he trying to hold it behind the 7? Well, he's got to use a little, maybe a slight helping left English here, and he can pot the 6. Or can he get it clean? That looks as if he's going to foul the 7. Yeah, I don't know whether he looked at that at all. Just a little bit of help in English and a fairly gentle shot, and he would have potted that 6. So that's completely blown their chances here. But that shot Larry played needed an awful lot of accuracy, and he was only about 3 millimeters short of where he wanted it. He could have tried to stun across between the 2 balls to get on the 6. It was a more sort of percentage shot. Whether he felt he had a good enough angle to do it, I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter now. It's now 6-1 to VP Monster and Hazard. And Hazard has been given the break for rack number 8. And it looks like another dry one. No shot for Larry. Now, can he get a jump in here over that 9-ball at that distance? I don't think he fancies it, because the 1-ball will go. No, he's looking to push out. Now, that push out there has left no shot into the right corner, no combo into the top left, and anything that VP Monster attempts here is going to have to be very thin to make a pocket. He could be lining up the bank. That is on. Up behind the 9, up that way and down there into the corner. The 9 won't be in the way. He's hit it offline. Well, it's going to be a big turnaround in this match if Whit and Larry are going to change the outcome of it. And that's not going very safe. And Hazard doesn't really need to do not very much with the cue ball here, other than give his partner a sight in the 2, because he's surely going to be playing the 2-6. And this is the big draw shot. Now, if Hazard plays this draw with the angle he has, he's just going to miss the 3 and end up in the middle of the table like that. He might have been trying to draw somewhere over that way, but of course the difficulty then was the 7 was more likely to be the blocking ball. And that's a good one. Well, when you're 6-1 down and you're hooked like that, you've just got to simply hit and hope. Well, that's going to be jumped. Hazard will jump the 4. Not a difficult pot to make. Just got to rely on luck with this cue ball. And that's the worst place it could have finished. Right on the 4. So it's another lifeline here, possibly for Larry and Whit. If EP Monster can't get this safe, but he has. That 9 ball is blocking the path. There's an edge of the 4 shown, but Whit, I think, is about to play the jump over this 9. But there's a wee bit of distance here to get over that 9. Got the jump, missed the pot. And now it all hinges on this 4 ball for Hazard. If he can get this 4, get his partner good on the 5, they're all set for 7-1. Oh, if he had missed, well, it's actually turned out not that bad, but he was hoping to miss the 5, leave it into the corner. But Monster can help this with a wee bit of English, just to square the cue ball. That's fine. So this 9 ball gives Hazard and Monster what looks like an unassailable lead. There's going to have to be a dramatic turn in events here, the way this match is going. 1 ball into the right middle, 6 ball into the bottom right corner, and sitting plumb on the 2 with the 3 ball very adjacent. 4 ball goes past the 8, so there isn't a problem there, and this could be a run out. Now he wants to be anywhere over that direction, ideally a little angle in the 4 to drop on behind the 5. Let's have a look and see what we have. And that's perfect. Could play a little soft draw shot and stun over to the 5. So anything but straight. And it's finished up pretty straight. He's going to have to work the cue ball here. You don't want to try and do too much. There's a chance he'll run into the 8 ball. The 8 ball might help him here, but he's going for the draw. And he's trying to pinch and make an angle that wasn't there, and that's the outcome. Now the only thing there is that he's run into the 7, and he's made that a little bit ugly as far as Larry and Witt's chances of pinching this rack. Because now the 7 is in an awkward place. Now Larry could go forward. He could go forward and come back and either leave it short. Well, he's trying to get it and squeeze it out, but that was always asking for trouble with the 9 ball being there. It was very unlikely he was going to get good on that 7 at that angle. And, well, there's the worst possible scenario has just happened there. Witt with the scratch, ball in hand for Hazard and Monster. And they should be sitting on the hill. Well, this shot I always like to come that way. And he's going straight up. See, that's leaving it a higher angle. And it's not a dead cert. But in it goes. And now it is the point of no return. VP Monster passes the break to Hazard in rack number 10. 8 ball goes into the top right. And, well, fortunately for Larry and Witt's case, it's not ideal in the 1. But it's not tight enough to the 9 to prevent VP Monster playing the jump. And that was always going to be the danger when you're close to play a jump shot to the object ball and it's near a rail. It's always likely the cue ball's going to bounce off the object ball onto the rail and onto the floor. So it's another chance, and it could be their last chance this time, because once again the balls are wide open. It's just about finding the path. And Larry's left it short on the 2. There is an angle. It's not a perfect angle here, because really Witt wants to actually try and check this cue ball up. Yeah, it was never a great angle to try and somehow hold across for the 3 from there. And there was a shot of desperation there for Larry, I think. Now, can Hazard get enough into this cue ball? And he has. And a little kiss on that 4 would help it nicely, but it's still okay. Now, the angle is there to come this way. You could go that way, but you're then trying to play a combo onto the 6. But if you play it with the right English, you can get down the line like that. And that is almost perfect. Almost down the line to the position for that 5 ball. And Hazard just got to be careful. And this is the crunch one. Now, we've said this in plenty of Friday Night 9 balls. You don't want to get here. On anywhere here or there will do, but not low. And that's going to bounce out. And that's perfect. And this match is pretty much over. Unless they have a rematch, this stream will be over as well. Cue ball needs to just keep running. It makes the shot all easier when you narrow the angle down. And that's overcut. Well, a final lifeline for Witt and that's not a good bank. It is not good. That was the old hit and hope. It needs to run to that end rail. It hasn't got there. And it's on the middle diamond pretty much. But it has to be made. It's not an ideal bank either, this one. Is he going for the cut? Yes, he is. And he almost scratched, but the match is over. And VP Monster and Hazard have trounced Larry and Witt by 9 racks to 1. And they win the pot. Is there going to be any rematch? No, there isn't. Witt has had enough. And he's headed home. And the rest of the guys have gone, and I'm about to go. So that was a short and sweet stream. But I don't think Witt and Larry will want to see the rerun of that match. So until next time, folks, I'll bid you good night.